안녕하세요, dolallycrafts Karen입니다. Hi and welcome to another card making tutorial at dolallycrafts. We're making a card very similar to this today, and when I say very similar, it's because we're not using the same stamps. Now, if you go to my website with any frequency, over the last couple of months you will have seen a post appear and reappear and disappear and reappear and disappear because I kept putting it off and putting it off. I meant to do this video before I went and made masks, but then COVID happened and the panic happened and everybody had to wear masks happened, so I started making masks, so I had to keep putting this video off. Now, the reason I'm bringing all this up, you may or may not have seen this template available for download on the post that kept disappearing and reappearing. The post will be live again. You can download this template. You print it onto a piece of 6x6 cardstock and then laminate it so that you always have it. Why do you want it? Because you can use it in any stamp positioning tool you may have. Now, if you watch Jennifer Maguire, sorry about the strobing there, if you watch Jennifer Maguire with any regularity, or I'm trying to think of who else may do it. There's a few girls that actually demonstrate and I can't even remember who brought out the roundabout jig. They're called turnabout stamps, but I made my own as a roundabout jig. Jennifer Maguire did some fantastic cards with the turnabout stamps, and that inspired me to come up with my own jig, mainly because I wanted to be able to use my Stampin' Up stamps in the same way that Jennifer Maguire was using the turnabout stamp. So I'm calling this my roundabout jig because you turn it round. Doesn't matter which way, you turn it round. Now, I will open up my Stamparatus to show you how this works. What you do, you place it in the outer corner of your Stamparatus. Stamparatus, if you want to pronounce it that way. But yeah, in your Stamparatus. Right? Because you want to be able to have the stamps far enough away that the hinges aren't going to impede, and neither will the magnets. They won't impede on your stamping. Now, you only need these two to be right on the corner, and the same with that. Now, I've numbered these like so. They go round in a weird circle. And that was just for placement. First stamp there, second stamp there, third stamp there, four, etc., etc. So that you end up like that. Now, you'll see with number 7 and number 3, I've actually put one big stamp across there. And that's because I wanted this thank you, but it was too big to have just over that one square, and it was impeding on the stamp that I had there. I didn't have another little stamp that I could push in that square and move this over. So that's the way I have it set up. As long as you keep your stamps within that area, they won't overlap. If you want to use a larger stamp, make sure you use it either across there, across there, across there, across there, across there, or across there, because then it won't impede on the other stamp, the other images as you stamp. So you've got your stamps all set up, ready to go. You take your Stamparatus out, your jig out, because you don't need that now. What you do need to do, just move, I've got everything sitting here. I've got all of the stamp pads that I've got the thanks out of over here so that I can list them. But what you need to do, bring in your paper trimmer and cut a piece of white cardstock to 6 inches by 6 inches. And you can get a few cards out of this depending on the way that you trim it. Now, once again, you actually stick the cardstock to the 7-inch mark here and right in the corner. Then bring your magnets in and just pop them on those 3 corners. You could put one there, but it may impede that stamp, which is why I'm not putting it in that corner. Now, the colours I'm going to use, I used a very light lot of colours. I've lost the card again. In this one, I used them from the Subtles range. This time, I'm going to use them from the Brights. So I've got Bermuda Bay, and I've got to remind myself to be really careful with that, because I shot it across there last time by flipping it too hard. Okay, this is really, really inky too. So close that over, bring that over, and just tap each of them. You can do it a little bit harder if it didn't stamp well. And there we go. Now, in with your chamois, because you've got to clean these off. So in with the chamois, and all I'm doing is patting them, and that gets all of the ink off. Now, because my Bermuda Bay was really inky, there's a lot of ink down the sides of the stamps, so I had to really soak them. Doesn't look as though all of the ink came off that one. Okay, they're all dry, so I'm going to come in with, whoops, before I do anything else, I have to turn this piece of cardstock 90 degrees. Now, so that I know what I'm doing with this, I always turn it clockwise so that I remember which way to go. So once again, pop your magnets on, bring in the Highland Heather this time, and coat all of the stamps again. And then stamp. There we go. I might actually give that one more coating just to be on the safe side and make sure that they're all really well inked. Now, Kathy Zilski, one of the other girls that I watch, uses a shimmer, a Swiffer cloth over the top to get a more even and smoother pressure on her stamps when she's using her stamp positioner. That's up to you. You can use an old rag or anything like that. Okay, get rid of any excess water. I think my chamois is just a little bit too wet. And in with the next colour, which is Poppy Parade. But before I do that, I bet you thought I was going to forget, we turn this once more. We turn it in a clockwise direction. Line it up. And then magnets back down, in with the Poppy Parade, ink up the stamps, Give it good pressure. And once again, I'm going to ink it a second time, just lightly. Flip it over, and once more. There we go. Great coverage. Before I forget, I will turn this one more time. Line it up again. Put my magnets down. In with the chamois and get all of the colour off. Gee, that Poppy Parade is so neon on the chamois. Wow. Look at how bright that goes on the chamois. Okay, and the last colour I'm using is Mango Melody. I wanted a nice bright card. So in with the Mango Melody. Cover the stamps. Flip. Oh, that's looking fantastic. And one thing I did notice on the sample that I did of this one earlier is I've got like a tartan look to it. Okay, one more. Give it a good press, and there we go. Okay, so that's our background paper done. I'm just going to give one more clean off on the stamp so I don't forget later. As I said, it's really easy to clean these when you just buy the chamois, cut it in half, and just keep it in one of these half-size boxes. Keeps nice and damp in there. So I'll pop that to the side. No, actually I won't. I will bring in my other plate and my piece of cardstock. Make sure I've got that positioned right, just up a little bit. There we go. And I'm going to do the Poppy Parade because it's so nice and bright. There we go. That looks great. Okay, clean this one off, and that's all I need my Stamparatus for now. So I'll move that to the side. But I've just realised I've plonked that on top of my original card. So I'll pop that aside to there. Now, I'm going to use the Stitched So Sweetly dies to cut this out, which is part of a bundle. So that will go like so. Pop that down. And in with a little bit of washi tape just to hold it in place. I've just got to make sure I've got that. I can't put my head over the top, so I'm hoping that's straight. Yes, that is. I will be back in a moment. Okay, so we have our background paper. We have our sentiment, and I actually cut a piece of fun foam to fit it perfectly, and I was able to get a fairly good match for the Poppy Parade so that it'll give me a nice depth to it. Okay, now what we need to do is bring the cardstock in, decide which way you're going to have which of your thanks you want to display the most. And so I'm going to cut it this way. So I'm going to bring it to 4 1/4, and score it. So don't throw that away. You could use that as a side piece for another card. Then turn it around and score it at your 5 3/4, which is the depth of my cards. And I'm going to have it on the side because I don't have any I don't have any of the top folding tank cards at the moment, so I'm going to have it on this one, and I've just got to trim a little bit off. So bring this in and line it up to the 5 3/4. This has just been one piece of A4 that I've cut in half, so it was a little bit longer on one side. And now that will fit perfectly. Before I do anything else though, whoops, I'm going to just smooth the edges down. Yep, that feels much better. And I'm going to bring in my scoreboard. You've all seen me do this. I watch a lot of different card makers, and Kathy Zilski came up with this idea, and I love it. It's to position your paper so that it lines up perfectly on your card bases. You pop your card base the right way up into the corner of your score tool. Come in with your glue. Decide which way you want this to go, and I want it that way. Slide it in, press it down, and there you go. It's sitting perfectly, excuse me, sitting perfectly on your card base. So pop that aside. I'm going to bring this in, and I'm going to pop tear and tape. I'm not going to tear it though, I'm going to cut it on the foam so it's got a neater coverage. Like so. It doesn't want to cut now. I really need my paper snips, but I don't know what I've done with them. I've got stuff all over my desk at the moment and I can't see for looking. Okay, that one, and that one. So that's my tear and tape. Come in with my craft knife. I'm just going to fold that bit that's overhanging back on itself. So there's one. Sorry for any of the background noise you can hear. Hubby's gone out to check the washing for me. We've actually got an absolutely beautiful day outside today. I received a Snapchat from daughter number 2. Her and her husband had finally taken the dog down to the beach for a walk because it's within their 5k and they could get out for the day. Okay, so there we go. Now I'm going to sit that there, and I think it needs just something else. So I'm going to, I've got tons of old ribbon here. I'm going to bring in some real red. Or is that Poppy Parade? That's a really good match. It could be Poppy Parade. Actually, it's not long enough. Bear with me. Here we go. Because I want to be able to wrap it round since I've already adhered the cardstock to the, not the base and the topper have already been adhered. So let's wrap this round. Like so. Trim that piece off and that piece off. And then I'm going to bring this in and I'm going to pop that there. So I'm going to use, actually I won't use the two-way glue because it takes forever to dry. Got all these bottles of the quick dry glue and they're all empty. Here we go. Plenty on there. It does take a little bit to dry, but doesn't dry as slowly as the other glues. And make sure you've got it the right way up, Karen. Yes, it's the right way up on the card. And I'm just going to pop that down like so. I can bring in one of my heavy blocks and sit that on top of it just to dry. Move all of this off to the side, and I now have to, where are they? Here we go. Bring in some of the rhinestones and that's better. And I'm going to pop, I know they're real red rhinestones, but that's okay. I'm just going to pop some of these around the sentiment, like so. Okay, and that is the card done. So there's the one that we used with all the soft colours and a thank you card with all the bright colours. Now, as I said, the jig can be used with any number of stamps as long as they're small enough to fit in the squares. You could even put one there and one there, a little one here, a little one here, maybe another big one there and a little one there. It's up to you, but the jig can be used for a number of different stamps. I hope you download it and use it. If you do, please tag me in social media by just tagging #dolallycrafts, and that way I can have a look at what you've come up with. Okay, that's enough from me for today. Go to my website, links below, and download your jig. I will speak to you later. Bye-bye.